Welcome to Office Hours at TradersPost for August 5th, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Hartman, marketing manager here at TradersPost, alongside the NQ sniper, Mike Christensen, co-founder and CSO. We're always working to make TradersPost better day in and day out. Each week, we take a deep dive into all things TradersPost, answering your questions, gathering your feedback, and helping you get the most out of the best automated trading platform in the multiverse. And for that, we need your help. Thank you very much for being here. And as always, I'll ask, Mike, how's it going? You are a live trader. Every single day now, you're putting yourself on the line, walking the tightrope, showing people not only how you trade, but how to use TradersPost in order to do it. How has it been over the last 2 weeks doing that?
So far, so good. I'm on a streak for sure. I think this is going to end up being my 6th profitable week in a row. So I've obviously reached a payout. I've got most of my accounts in profit. I'm trading quite a bit of prop firm accounts across multiple firms, all going through TradersPost. So it's been a blast. It's been fun to actually kind of show my technical analysis background live on the stream. Talk back and forth with some of the traders that we have on the live stream who happen to more often than not be in the same trade. You know, we had one today where Aventura Trader was almost in exactly the same price that I got in at too. And his is an automated trade. So very interesting how much confluence exists there sometimes. I'll sometimes speak with Rebecca on Twitter and ask her if she's in a trade, and she's like, "Yep, I just got into a short, and so did I." All right, so we're all taking the same trades. You know, if you have some good ones set up, it seems like everybody's kind of in the same trade. But all that said, it's been a blast. It's been fun doing the live streams. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get up in the morning. Market opens up a little bit earlier for me in Denver than it does for those on the East Coast. So today I had my alarm set at 7, which I meant to have it at 6. So I was like rushing to get to the desk before the market opened at 7:30. But you know, you do what you do.
Well, guys, that's Price Action Live that happens Tuesday through Friday from 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to around 10:30, depending on how well Mike is doing. The worse he does, the sooner we end the show. Or like today, you started off with a poor trade. And then
Right.
I saw that look in Mike's eyes of like, hey, the market's not going to take this money from me. You're going to turn. I'm going to follow you where you need to go. And you're like, okay, let me set this up and let me take the trade down the other side. Which to me, I was just like, wait, I've never seen Mike like half revenge trade, half chase a position. Was I wrong? And like, you were like, no, I not only do I not want to be down on my accounts today, I don't want to be down in public. Did that have any play on that?
Not at all, because if you look back at some of the live streams, I've taken losses publicly, down 400, down 500 for the day, and that's it. There's no more trades to take for the session. I'm done for the day. But today was a little different. Today was I didn't take the right trade for the short side initially because it didn't have a full close below VWAP. So I immediately switched my bias and went long, and that was the right trade. But that red candle came out of nowhere and I had to take a loss on that one. So that was the second loss of the day. At that point, once we closed below VWAP with how strong that signal was to the downside, there's no way I wasn't going to participate in that. You know, once we closed below VWAP on the other side, it was time to switch bias again. So we went from short to long, back to short again. And I went where the market went. That ended up proving out to be an incredible short that I even still got out of too early. I should have held that longer, but I picked up a little more profit at the end of the day and took a little bit of a scalp through this little choppy range we've had for the rest of the session.
To be fair, you are now Mike Christensen post payout, post passing the accounts, post success. And so before, of course, you could handle like a red day live on stream because you hadn't gotten to the payout point yet. Now everything you do matters that much more. You're a success story, and your failure is all of our failures. So I hope you feel that pressure every time you're on stream.
I try not to think about it, but thanks for trying to put it back in my mind there, Tom. Appreciate it. No, I do get what you're saying. The pressure is different now. I have real funded accounts now. I've converted 4 Apex accounts, and I do have a funded I have 5 funded Tradeify accounts. So these are all high pressure, keep the profit going. Otherwise, you lose these accounts and I lose all the money I put into it. And it's been a fair investment. At this point, I have not completely made all my money back on accounts. I have some analysis I'll post on Twitter probably in the next week or so on exactly how long it's taken me to get here. I started in October of 2024 and how much I've spent on accounts, how many accounts I've lost, and really what the total investment has been. So I still have a fair amount of work to do to get out of the hole of my original investment and get a full cash on cash return and then make compounded returns on top of that. From here, it should just be, all right, let's take all of these accounts and just keep producing profits in these accounts, managing the risk, keeping the drawdown as far away as possible. That way I don't lose any of these. I would prefer to keep these forever now, as long as I can get payouts or reach a maximum payout cap or whatever is next on the horizon.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have so many questions when it comes to your experience so far, because it's one thing, like, I mean, the time I've known you, it wasn't prom firm Mike. That wasn't
Not at
what
all.
was
Yeah,
going
no.
on,
I didn't even know about prop firms until
right?
the end of
TradingView trade.
2023.
And the development of the TradersPost platform, in your mind, in all the discussions, even though prop firm had been a thing that obviously people were using on the platform, it wasn't your lived experience. But
Right.
now that you have been living with it, I've noticed like a few things that happen on stream or as we're talking that make me wonder, like, how do you feel? Like, what kind of features are you happy about of having on TradersPost, and what things would be nice to have in the future? So, for
Yeah.
example, you had mentioned this idea that it doesn't make any sense, or maybe we clarify it. Uh, the idea of scaling out for prop firms, is it like,
Mhm.
well, the more accounts you add on, the more worthwhile this whole endeavor becomes? Like, would you say, well, it's not really worthwhile just to trade one prop firm account with TradersPost if you could use a software like us? Or would you say, no, it's even still valuable only if you have one prop firm account?
That's a good question, and I do think you should always start out with just one account. Like get past the eval stage, get a payment, and then start scaling from there. I did it kind of backwards. I definitely put a heavy investment into scaling prior to getting to a payout, but a big part of it was really just the confidence I had in my own trading ability. I've been at this a long time. I've traded for a long time, traded my own live accounts. And once I kind of dialed in where the risk management needed to be for this to work, I think it all started to click for me. That said, I do encourage everybody to keep your risk as small as possible. What I love about prop firm trading is it is a pretty incredible options contract. In theory, you put $49 down for an account, and if you get to a payout, the payout is far bigger than the cost of that account. And at any point, you can just cancel the subscription and just be out the $49. That's the same thing as like buying an options contract where you buy a call. Maybe the premium cost is $49, but if it goes in your favor, you win a lot more than $49. I think you keep the risk really, really small as you start out. Prove to yourself that you can actually trade first. Keep trading on practice accounts and then go from there. But as far as TradersPost goes, we facilitate an incredible ability for you to manage multiple accounts across firms, across Project X and Tradeovate, and that the way that our system works for trade mirroring or copy trading or whatever phrase you prefer to use there. I like the phrase account scaling. And the idea here is that we can help you spread those trades across all the accounts at the same time. They're executed quickly, they're executed at the same time. But then you can also do things like signal quantity management, where if I send a contract size of 1, you might be able to multiply that account size or that quantity size for other accounts. So if I have a larger 150K account, I can multiply it by 3. So now it takes a lot larger of a size rather than the one contract I asked for. That feature, even in of itself, was a game changer here. That's allowed me to get to payouts a little bit faster on my bigger accounts, but just worry about the trading on my side. I don't have to think about the accounts. I don't even think about what stage they're in or what percentage of goal I'm at or what my drawdown is. All of that's kind of managed within TradersPost, and I can execute that process a little bit more easily. I think the other feature that we really make available here is that eventually we'll get to a point where we can show analytics. We'll have the ability to see how your performance scales out across accounts. And then the ability to sort of manage different types of strategies or different types of signals across accounts is obviously another advantage. But the real power starts to step in once you have more than one account.
All right. So, I mean, when you're sitting there and you're looking at your dashboard that is connected to all these different prop counts, and then you make a trade, and then you're seeing green everywhere or even red everywhere. Like, I really want to get a sense of like, this is the first time I've seen Mike, you as like new to the platform and the same, like from the same eyes as some of the people are using our platform. Do you see it as like, hey, I'm like taking on, um, I'm taking on a lot of risk here? Or are you thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I get to have all these accounts and like reduce my risk in a sense by being able to scale out my profits over everything? Like, do you see it as like, hey, I'm taking on more risk, or oh my God, this platform is allowing me to be safer and more profitable over time?
Yeah, I think TradersPost allows me to be safer because I'm not trying to manage trades across multiple accounts, right? More than 2 dozen accounts. I'm just focusing on the trade itself and allowing TradersPost to help me with position sizing and exiting out of the positions all at the same time. Like if you can imagine me trying to take 30 plus accounts and have them all broken out into individual tabs and manually trading each one of those, my risk would be all over the place. My entries would be all over the place. It'd be really hard to get out of the positions at the same time. So obviously copy trading on TradersPost is a significant advantage. The rules that I've built for each of these strategies for each account also allow me to just not even think about the accounts. I just think about the trade itself. Uh, the risk is definitely different though. Like existentially, this is a different process than managing a live account. In my mind, the only risk that I've taken is the cost of these accounts, which is far less than I would see in drawdown in a live account, right? I could
Oh,
definitely
right.
lose a lot more in a live account than I've lost in total costs for these accounts so far. So I think this is a very risk managed way to trade these markets without exposing yourself to complete ruin in a futures account.
So if you were a, hmm, let's say you're not a futures trader, let's say you're a stock trader, and you're normally used to trading a $2,000 account. You're trying to build that up.
Okay.
Then it sounds like the account scaling for prop firms might be problematic. Is, I mean, you can spend $1,000 or more a month just paying for the prop firm accounts, right?
Correct. Yeah, the only time this becomes relevant is with leverage. When people open up, let's say, a futures account with $5,000, there's a very high likelihood that $5,000 is just going to disappear to the markets. But you could spend $5,000 in prop firm accounts over the next year and actually stand the chance to make not only your 5,000 back, but significantly more than that if you're starting to scale accounts and you're successful at what you're doing. And that again, it becomes a fixed cost at that point. It's not the same as like, let's say I opened a $10,000 account and lost 5,000, but then continued to try to trade. I might lose the other 5,000 in the process. At least with
Right.
these prop firm accounts, as long as you don't hit your drawdown limit, you have the ability to keep trying every day, showing up at the market, up to the market, and taking opportunities over time. That said,
So my
trading is always risky. Doesn't really matter which approach you take. You still have the chance of losing money.
well, so for example, right now I'm doing just with one prop firm account in order to get used to Project X and Top Step and
Mhm.
all that. And the moment I get to two accounts, I don't see myself switching between tabs trying to replicate my trades across different things.
You're going to set up
Um,
TradersPost.
that's right. Well,
Yeah.
today was a class. When I saw what happened today, it was like such a classic example, or such a quintessential example, where we had that big red candle down,
Mhm.
and you had to quickly set your exit in order to manage this position. Okay, guys, I got to handle this. And I've known some people, they have like 20 tabs open for their prop firm accounts. And the idea that something like that would happen, and now they got to rush to 20 different tabs in order to
Mm.
manage their accounts, to
Yep.
me sounds like an absolute
Total
nightmare.
nightmare. And if it's a big enough candle, you're going to have massive slippage on some of those accounts, or maybe even lose them entirely. Trigger a daily stop or trigger your max loss limit entirely and just lose the whole account.
That's right. So to me, it's like the and then you have to pay in order to reactivate the account if you want to do that. If you want to reset the account within your 30-day period with
Hmm.
Top Step. And so, and for other stuff like other platforms I've used, that's it. You're not even resetting the account. You're done. You got to buy a whole new thing. Like, you don't even have the advantage of that. And so the more I see it, the more I see you trading live. I guess I wasn't really internalizing it before. It actually, to me, the way I trade is actually far less risk. Like, to me, it's not like, oh, there's risk on both sides. To me, the prop firm scaling, doing it that way, if I learn how to do that, one, I'm getting better at trading, understanding what I'm doing. I'm not like, rushing into it, FOMO trading or whatever, because there's so much more to lose there.
Hmm.
Um, and then once it gets scaled out, you get to really see, oh, I get to just add another add-on inside of TradersPost in order to add a new account, and I could see my progress as I move forward. Versus when I like trade manually on my own money on my own account, oh my god, Mike, the decisions I'm doing, the money that I'll lose, like, it's just crazy. Whereas if I'm paying $500 a month for prop firm accounts, I know at the end of the month, like, I'm just gonna lose at 500 if I do poorly, as opposed
Yeah, that's
to.
kind of the way I think about it. These accounts, they represent theoretically millions of dollars worth of value in the accounts, right? The account sizes themselves. And I'm putting on trades sometimes that in aggregate might represent 20 to 30 million dollars worth of notional value. But all of this
Mm,
is just simulated trading. In reality, the only risk I have on the table is the cost of the accounts. So that is in the back of my mind when I'm trading these accounts. It's really a process of just trying to manage the trade itself and the risk around that trade, or the P&L around the theoretical P&L of that trade. I will say that when I first started, the emotions of trading in those accounts were the same as they were when I was live trading, and that has dissipated. This process of prop firm trading, especially on multiple accounts, has changed my emotions about trading for the better. I've become a lot
did it
less
dissipate it?
because I feel more in control of my decision making ability and just managing when I get out of the position and manage the stop losses. I feel better about that. We've also been in a fairly low volatility environment right now, so I might
Mhm.
feel differently if we end up with a massive red candle, one of these days coming up here. If there's a huge reversal in the markets, and it kind of happened today. Perfect
Right.
example. I'm long the market, everything looked good, the trade looked good, and out of nowhere, that red candle put me almost $1,000 down in all of my accounts. And I wasn't really prepared for that potential. In fact, it actually added to my position on the way down. So there's going to be moments like that where I think it'll trigger a response. And I was like, hey guys, hold on a second. I got to get out of this position.
Just a note on that, to button up that topic. Trevor, it was interesting that he had like an overnight session that he wasn't happy with, and he ended up losing an account, and he was sort of happy, being like, okay, well, that was what I lost that month, and now I got to wait until it renews, and he was sort of out of it. Whereas I know, if it was me, my own capital, I would never pause for the rest of the month. I would just absolutely continue. It would be eating at me day in, day out. But he couldn't trade that account, so I thought
Mm.
seemed less risky that way. All right. Well, I'm not here trying to promote a profit specifically. Um, I'm interested in understanding, now that you've had some time under your belt. You've done the account scaling. You're trading the live on the market in front of everybody, which is fantastic. Thank you very much for that. By the way, you're doing the Lord's work. Are there features that you're like, okay, we need to have these kinds of modifications to the Traders Post platform in order to
Mhm.
make your life easier when you're managing these positions?
Yeah. So if I can share my Traders Post dashboard, I can walk through a couple of features that I'd love to see us implement. One of the things that we recently did is we show you a little icon now indicating how many subscriptions you have to an account and how many of those are active. That's what these 2 out of 2 and 3 out of 3 numbers represent. That's been really helpful. One of the other things that would also really kind of be a game changer in my mind is the ability to define what your best day is in the account, what your profit goal is, and what your max drawdown, your trailing max drawdown is. A lot of that can be received from the Trade of 8 API, so we can actually manage this for the user. But in theory, if I could have some kind of indication or progress bar showing me, one, how much more profit do I need to make in order to pass an account or get to the next payout target, that could be defined at the account level. And it would help me kind of see broadly across all of my accounts where I'm at overall. I have a separate script that I've written in another environment that helps me manage that. And that's an invaluable tool that I'm constantly using every day to get a sense of what my average P&L is across the accounts, what my min and max is, how much drawdown I have in each account. So being able to see that across all the accounts within TradersPost would be very, very helpful. We'll have to work with the Project X guys to see if they can provide some of that data in their API, and then we can make that sort of concept available in all Tradeovate and Project X accounts. That's definitely one. Another would be performance-based position sizing. Right now, what I'm kind of doing is position sizing based on the account size, but I would like something that's actually a rolling performance base where I tell it to look at the last, let's say, 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 trades and effectively start at a really small position size. But as my win rate goes up, then that position size increases as well. If my performance starts to wane, then it would start scaling back the position size. That's probably something that I've missed out on in the past, or I've blown out accounts because I just go on a bad streak. And it'd be nice to position size down, because this is really a game of survival. I'm still going to want to trade, but I'd prefer to trade much smaller size. And that way I stay in the market longer and I expose myself to that opportunity of getting on a turnaround at some point.
Right.
Beyond that, I would think that the like I said, just really being able to input some of the account level data, like where my profit target is, the max drawdown, that kind of stuff, I think could be more closely tied to prop firm accounts on here, and then we can help you track your progress. But then bragging rights from here, sure, if once we get our analytics live, be able to showcase all the performance across all my accounts, sort of like some of the other platforms have their trade journaling features, where you can combine all the accounts in one place. Our analytics package is pretty close. When that's done, that's definitely a step in the direction that I'm hoping for.
Excellent. Now, something that has come up on the stream a couple of times is this idea of um, not being able to, or you can do it, but submitting a signal directly from the back end for to submit a trade
Mhm.
doesn't come along with the signal price, and so
That's
you
right.
don't do that. You do it on the chart in order to avoid it. If there was the signal price sent along with it, like somehow if that was we're able to do that, and you have to input it manually, would you find would you would you find yourself in the back end of Traders Post doing that instead to enter a trade, or would you still be on the TradingView side adding the using indicators and lines in order to set your alerts?
Probably still on TradingView or other charting software. Ideally, and this is one of my long-term objectives with TradersPost, is to eventually have our own charting system integrated into the platform. And then you would just go to the symbol you want and you can drag your own chart on the line, or your own line on the chart, excuse me. And that would affect all of the subscriptions that you have for that strategy. So we could still probably do something like that. We're kind of exploring what our options are there. Then I wouldn't do it from TradingView. I would do it straight from TradersPost, and that would obviously cut down on the amount of time it takes to get from TradingView over to TradersPost, which right now can be anywhere from 200 milliseconds to as much as a second and a half. It just depends on how congested TradingView's webhook servers are. So if you do it from the TradersPost dashboard, it would be significantly faster. We're saying, less than 10 milliseconds, because it's on the exact server where it needs to start from. And that would speed up the process of getting the order off to the broker. So when there's another advancement or enhancement we need to make on TradersPost as well, which is to get live futures data on the platform. When we have that, then we'll be able to do that. You could then just go to the strategy dashboard and click submit trade, and it would grab the market price at that time and submit the trade right away. And that would be a little bit faster than moving the line on the TradingView chart. But I really do trade from the charts. I need to see the price action in order to feel good about the execution of the trade. So I'm sacrificing a little bit of that timing slippage from the TradingView chart in order to feel a little more in control of my trade and my execution.
Well, today I saw you on the 1 second chart. I could not believe it. I was like, he
Oh,
is on the 1 second chart.
not from a trading perspective, just
No,
analysis.
not for
I just
trading.
wanted to see what was happening when that flash candle came down.
Absolutely. I just mean it in terms of like, we're not doing high frequency trading or anything like that. We're not relying on the 1 second chart. I guess seeing it working live in front of somebody that I know, and you're able to navigate between the different time frames and set up the alerts you need to, and flowing back and forth between the platform, you look at that and you're like, if more people saw this, more people would be doing this, because this looks so cool. And then to be able to scale your effort, there's just something there. Like, you see one of the accounts, it's up $500, and you go, okay, Micro's up $500 on that times 20, and you're like, what? It's like, okay, this is like, absolutely, this is totally worthwhile. And more people need to see that. So that's our job. We got to get that out to you guys, because if you guys have not been doing account scaling, connecting your different accounts, positions, size scaling, all these different features that exist within TradersPost, you're definitely missing out. And that's for us to preach the good word to you guys. All right. Well, we're going to have, as always, we're going to have some questions coming up from our users. Always happy to get your feedback. Always happy to have your questions. But first, we're going to have a word from our sponsors.
Ask yourself this. Are you making trading harder than it needs to be? If you're trading manually or still coding just to connect to your broker, yeah, it's time to upgrade. TradersPost lets you automate trades using signals from tools like TradingView or TrendSpider, or even your own custom setup. It works with brokers like TradeStation, Trade Coinbase, and a bunch more. I've been using it myself, and getting started was smooth. The platform's clean, setup's quick, and once it's running, it just works. And when you're ready to scale, adding more strategies, plugging into prop firm accounts, or juggling multiple portfolios, TradersPost handles it. It's built to grow with you. Start your free trial at TradersPost.io. Trade smarter, automate your edge.
Welcome back, folks. So we had a nice crop of questions coming in over the last week. We're going to go ahead and start with the first one that came from Anuj S., who says, hi there. I am still a newbie to automated trading, and I'm trying to get my TradingView to work with TradersPost. I had set up integration between the two a few days ago and have not traded since then. However, when I logged into TradersPost account just now, I noticed that my TradingView has started sending signals to TradersPost, which I cannot find in the alerts log window in TradingView. So I'm wondering if anyone in support team can help me figure out where these signals are coming from and how I can turn them off. So I just wanted to mention here, there is no circumstances where you're going to have a signal within TradersPost that didn't come externally, right? So
you can get them internally, but you'd have to manually submit that signal from the strategy dashboard, correct?
that's what I mean. Like, it wouldn't accidentally happen. There's no signals that accidentally fire within a strategy subscription.
That's right. We have an event-driven system, meaning the event has to take place and then we receive that event. There is no automation on the platform where we create the event.
That's right. And there are certain circumstances sometimes in TradingView where an alert will be fired, but because of repainting issues or what have you, it doesn't actually show up on your chart. Now, Mike, I've never seen it where the alert fire. I've seen it where you don't see it on the chart, but I've never seen it before where it doesn't show up in the alert log. Have you ever seen it where the alert fires and it's not in the alert log?
Never. I think the alert log on TradingView should always be a source of truth. Even in repainting events, you would still see the alert in the log. You may not see it, the buy or sell action on the chart because of the repainting problem, but the log would still show it.
That's right. There are sometimes people don't necessarily understand that inside of their alerts, they can, if you'll just show my screen here, inside of their alerts, they can filter them so that it only shows for the current symbol or the current time interval. Yep. So I know I've been guilty of that, where I don't have it checked off properly and the alert is filtered out and I don't see it. So that can definitely occur. But I've never been in a situation where we're seeing an alert fire and it's just like there's no record of it like anywhere. So I suspect that that's what will happen with that user, that they just didn't have the right option selected.
Right.
Sometimes I think I'm on the chart that I created alert from, but I'm on, like, especially for crypto, but I'm on a different crypto from a different exchange, and I'm not seeing the same details.
I think we need to reiterate some of the debugging process on TradersPost as well. If you don't mind sharing my screen, Peter, real quick. Anytime I'm curious about where a trade came from, I can always go to strategies. Let's assume for a moment that you've already cleared out notifications. You can always go to strategies. And what I sometimes do, especially if I'm evaluating what's happening in another user's account, is I'll go to their strategies and I'll click on each of the signal tabs and open them in a new window. And then immediately I can see what signals came through this strategy, which then led to a subscription, which is the broker level connection, and then executed with the broker. So I can see the most recent signal that came through on this strategy was this exit signal that came through at 8:31 a.m. Mountain time, and the time zone is based on the user's preferences. Then I can see in this strategy, the last trade that came through was at 12:27. This was the scalping exit here for this trade. Okay, that one made sense. Then on this one, I see an 8:25 a.m. And then there's a bunch of other signals that came through for this one that are invalid. And this appears to be an alert that keeps firing for M and Q crossing up at a specific price. Last one there was back in May. But the point is, in order to debug what's happening in these accounts, the easiest thing to do is just to go to strategies first and click on the signals of each strategy to see what's coming through. That way you can diagnose what's happening. Are there failed trades? Did you expect a trade to go through, but it didn't? In this case, like this failed trade, this failed signal tells me that there's nothing to really do here because you didn't send a JSON message. This is just a message that comes out of an indicator from TradingView. If I keep going through, though, I can see, like in this case, what happened here. How come all of these trades were rejected, but 4 of them were completed? If I look and I debug this trade further, I can see here that that these accounts had already exited that position and there was nothing to exit. So the debugging process does start by clicking strategies first and then reviewing each signal from there.
Perfect. Next up, our question comes from Munir M, who says, I get the error message, no open orders to cancel, even when I'm opening a bullish position. Cannot exit open bullish position because signal is not an exit signal. So there's 2 things I want to touch on here. One is the idea of the trade plan system within TradersPost. So we get all these messages, and we just saw that on your screen before, Mike, where when a trade is going to get executed, it goes through all these verification steps, all these steps within the back end, and that gets surfaced. And so you'll often get messages like this that'll say, hey, there's no open positions to exit depending on the signal that you're sending through. Could you give a little more clarity as to how that trade plan works and how we should interpret some of these messages?
Sure. I mean, a big portion of how TradersPost works is to first evaluate the rules of your trading strategy subscription settings to determine if we should enter a position or not. The second layer to this is to look up your existing positions or your open positions to determine if there's even a trade to execute. But I can't really summarize all of these rules in a few sentences. There's obviously a number of rules and layers to the trade plan process that can differ from asset class to asset class as well. The trade plan might be different for futures than it is for stocks, or options is significantly different than it is from crypto, for example. But I think in general, the trade plan starts with, is there a valid trade to take? Is there an open position? And do I need to continue to execute on this position? Can I add to it? Should I be exiting from it? So on and so forth. But there's a big flow chart of logic decisions that are made within our trade plan system. In the case of the no open orders to cancel, I cannot exit a bullish position because the signal is not an exit signal. That really kind of depends on the settings of the strategy and whether or not he had an open position at that time. Did you look this one up?
Yeah, that's exactly the point I wanted to hit on there. They did have an open position at the time that they didn't realize. So what I want to make it clear over here is that the message that you're getting within the trade plan, even though it might not be matching your specific use case and what you're thinking about, TradersPost is going through and it performs all these different checks, considering all kinds of different permutations for the strategies, all kinds of different signals that are coming in, and it's surfacing the messages that are happening in the back end. So oftentimes I will find that users be like, well, this doesn't seem like it mattered to me. Well, it mattered because at some point it will matter for someone for that information to be surfaced, and we don't pick and choose. You get all the different details there.
That's right.
So when it says the user got a message just kind of open a bullish position, and like, why? I don't have a bullish position. One, they did, and two, they didn't have the right setting for the ad to position on or off. And so they were confused by the message because one, they didn't really know what they had in their account, and two, they were expecting a different behavior. So the trade plan is really just like we're talking about before with the alerts. Like if you see an alert show up inside of TradersPost to trigger, we're event-based system, it means we got that event. There's no phantom events that are happening on TradersPost. Similarly, for the trade plan, if it's going through, it's because it's considering something that needs to consider at that particular moment.
Got it.
All right. Next up, question from Amir S, who says, I use TopStep for trading and use the subscriptions to take trades. I want to place bracket orders on Project X. Is that possible?
It is, but maybe not in the way you expect. So we do support take profit and stop loss order types within TradersPost, but unfortunately that type of order configuration is not currently supported on Project X. However, if you log into a Project X account, in fact, I'll log into my TopStep X account if you guys want to see my screen here, and I'll show you where this setting is at. So if I go into my settings here, there is a global risk settings section of your risk settings tab within the settings icon of TopStep X. I didn't realize I was going to say the word settings so much. And I can set a dollar amount of profit and loss for the incoming trade. So in theory, I can send a trade for one M&Q contract to Project X. And when that order comes in, I could tell it that I only want to risk $50 and try to make $100 of profit. So it will take my average entry and it set the take profit and stop loss according to those dollar amount differences in my P&L. So this is a P&L based risk and not a market price based take profit and stop loss. And essentially, I just need to make sure that I check this box to automatically apply risk and profit brackets to new positions. And I'll hit save, and then that gets attached to every order that comes through. Even if I send a second one in, it's going to lock in the distance between those two, but it no longer becomes $50 of risk on the one contract. It now becomes $100 of risk on two contracts. I believe, actually, I think the way that Project X does it is they keep the brackets in the same place. So technically it's still $50 of risk, but it makes your risk tighter to your position size. So, you know, there's a chance that you're hoping to make more by adding to a position, but you end up making the same amount, even though you had twice the position size.
Oh.
So just bear that in mind,
that
I think they keep the take profit and stop loss at the same place and in the same place that it was before. Play around with it though. There's obviously probably going to be some variance in people's accounts, but that is the one place where I can see a take profit and stop loss being possible within Project X, is within the risk settings of an account. If they expand their API to provide support for bracket trades in the future, we will absolutely move quickly to make sure that's supported on TradersPost as well.
Awesome. Start the tweets. Let them know what you want. All right, next up, someone asked, if I open up a demo account in TradeStation and connect it to TradersPost, the connection to TradersPost to that account would be under live accounts or paper accounts? And can I connect it to whichever one I want? So here the user is connecting their TradeStation account, but they have a demo account on TradeStation. They want to know, does it automatically take up a paper account slot on TradersPost, or can they select whether it takes up a live or a paper?
They cannot select. We actually look at the account type from the broker. So if it comes back as a simulated or demo account from the broker, it's going to count against your paper broker limit. If it comes back as live, we're going to count it against your live account. You can't decide how many accounts go against your limit within the TradersPost account. So
Right.
we automatically look it up for you.
Makes sense. All right. Eric M asks, I have a signal multiplier set up in a strategy subscription, but it only is working on one side of the trade. How does this feature work with side swapping? So the idea here about the signal multiplier that allows you to send a signal in, and then that particular subscription will multiply the position. Does it work on if you had both sides set up for the strategy? Does the multiplier work on both bullish and bearish at the same time? And how does side swapping affect that?
It's a really good question. I believe when you do side swapping, it should switch the existing contract size that you currently have. So the signal multiplier was really kind of designed for going one direction, but I would have to test it out on the side swapping side. I'm pretty sure that right now, if let's say I started with one, I sent in a contract size of one, and then I had a signal multiplier set to 2. Well, I should have an open long position right now of 2 contracts long. And then if I send an exit, or a sell rather, and without the quantity, then it should reverse it to 2 short. And that's how the side swapping should work from that point on. But if that's not the case, we just need to look at the sequence of orders that came through for this user's account. Did you investigate this one?
No, I was actually I'll reach out to John because it wasn't clear at the time. The question was still open, so I'll ask. In fact, we'll just do a quick video for that too, for that type of scaling, and toss that into the documentation.
Good question. I like being stumped on not knowing exactly how that would play out. We will find out, and we'll make sure to do an update for you. Thanks for the question, Eric.
Next up, Amir asks, I have a paper account with my account with TradersPost. I reset it yesterday to $500. I made a trade with my bot from TradingView, and now that account is up 10,000%. I don't understand what's going on. I trade the Russell.
This is likely a pricing issue with
Correct.
the paper account on TradersPost. We may not know what his entry price was, or at least what it was correctly. That's
exactly what it was. They didn't have the entry price, and so when you're dealing with a paper account on TradersPost, you won't, because it's not working off of data. You'll get these wide swings with the values.
It's a very good reason why you should always use signal price in your orders, so that way you know what your entry price should be on the TradersPost paper account.
That's right. All right. Jarrell J asks, is it possible to connect my TradingView paper trading account? No, you can't connect your TradingView paper trading account. This is a question that's been in my mind, even though I know the answer, because I think I participate in every one of the TradingView leaps, and it would be so nice to be able to have TraderPost connected to it, to be able to do it that way. But no, we don't have that integration option. And finally, question from Nicholas S, who asks, can I open an account in Australia and automate my overnight trades using TradingView, then creating a webhook via TradersPost to execute with TradeStation?
I believe so. I believe TradeStation supports Australian customers, and you can trade US regulated futures within a TradeStation account. I can't confirm that at the moment, but I'm fairly certain that's supported.
I believe he already had the account. He just wants to know if he can use TradersPost. We're not locked geographically, so you can set up whatever.
I think the one thing to bear in mind is the geographic delivery of price that may have an impact on slippage for him. So let's walk through how this would actually play out. In all likelihood, there are TradingView servers in Australia that are getting pricing data from the CME on futures, or from the CME on futures that are also coming from servers in Australia. But of course, the pricing data originally comes from the United States. So there's a small lag in the data from the US to Australia, at which point then he executes a webhook alert, which is delivered from potentially a server from Australia, which takes potentially more time to get to TradersPost. And we're in the US. and then we execute with the CME and TradeStation at that point. So because of that lag, there's a lag for the pricing data from the US and then from Australia to the US on TradersPost servers. There could be a little extra time slippage as a result of that, but it would be interesting to take a look at his trade history to see what kind of impact is really happening from that distance.
Excellent. So when quantum tunneling for TradersPost?
Yeah,
Not
right.
anytime soon, folks. Not anytime soon.
Even with fiber optics, unfortunately, we still have a small delay from Australia. You guys are just so far out there.
All right. Well, that's it for our questions for this week. If you guys have any questions, feedback, or comments that you want to make for next week's episode, please feel free to put them inside of YouTube comments. Go to feedback.traderspost.io and post them there, or Smoke Signal, Carrier Pigeon, all that sort of thing. We're always...
That's what I
Western Union, exactly. I just love it. You're like, Pigeon, Carrier Pigeon, Western Union, pretty much the same thing. You guys definitely want to go see Price Action Live Tuesdays to Fridays. It's become my favorite show on TradersPost because, my God, we have Mike here who is not afraid to put it on the line. I mean, you're very entertaining on the show, and even today, I was a little bit like hot underneath the collar watching how you're going to recover your position. It's also great for people to trade together. I just want to see more and more people there because, wow, what a great feeling it is in the morning. And it gives you a nice little bump during the day. We have a Ventura trader who's watching from work. So don't give me any excuse that you're at work and you can't be doing it. I'm at work too, and I'm listening to Mike in my headphones.
Yeah,
exactly. We'll also be here on Thursday for Blueprint for walkthroughs and tutorials about automated trading, and on Friday for after hours for market commentary. But as always, we wish you guys a happy trading.
Cheers, everyone.